see the different types of machine learning techniques. The different types of machine learning techniques are categorized into 4 popular categories: supervised learning techniques, otherwise called as the predictive tasks, unsupervised learning techniques, semi-supervised learning techniques, and we also have reinforcement learning techniques. So if we think of the supervised learning techniques, in which the objective is to predict or identify the value of one attribute, depending upon the values of one or more other attributes given in the data set. So you are given a data set consisting of multiple attributes or multiple columns. Okay, so now I'm talking about the structured data, where you can imagine the data set consisting of multiple columns. Okay, so in this case, you have, say for example, I have a data set in which I have the name of the person, the age of the person, his medical history, and then the family history, family medical history, okay, and then the weight of the person, the weight, height, and then whether the person is a diabetic person or not. Okay, so I have a data set like this, which has got some columns, and each column, either we call them as attributes or the variables. Okay, these columns from name to height, can you see it? The columns name to height, these columns are called as independent variables or independent attributes. And the column diabetic, the attribute diabetic is the dependent attribute. Okay, based on the values of these attributes, the machine must be able to determine the value of or predict the value of the column or the attribute diabetic, whether the person is diabetic or not. So name is some XYZ and the age is 42. Medical history, maybe he has some issues earlier. Okay, family history, whether the family members had a diabetic earlier or not, and what is the weight of the person, what is the height of the person, 145 centimeters, something like this. So with this information, okay, with this information, the machine will be able to predict whether this particular person may be a diabetic person or not. Okay, will be a diabetic person or not. Okay, so this is called as predictive modeling. Okay, so here these attributes, we call them as independent attributes, and the attributes and the attribute whose value you are going to predict is called as, it is called as dependent attribute. Okay, so that is what we are going to do it in supervised. Under supervised learning technique, you will always have one attribute which is called as a dependent attribute, whose value will be predicted based upon the values of one or more independent attributes available in the given data set. So the independent attributes are otherwise called as explanatory variables, right? So it builds a mathematical model that represents the dependent variable as a function of independent variables. Okay, so how you are going to predict the value of the independent variable? You will, if it is a linear kind of representation, you can always express, if y is the dependent variable, you can always express ax plus b or mx plus c, whatever it is. So if I have only one independent variable, which is x, here I am assuming x is the only independent variable and y is the dependent variable. Okay, I can express this as a mathematical model, which is a simple linear equation. Okay, it is not always linear equation. You will always have, it could be the type of relationship could be non-linear or it could be anything. Okay, for simplicity, I'm assuming the type of relationship between the independent variable and the dependent variable is linear. So in that case, if it is a linear relationship, I can express this in terms of a mathematical equation, which is a linear equation. Y is equal to mx plus c is a linear equation, right? So here like this, but here I have n number of independent variables. So if there are more than one independent variables, what you can do, ax1 plus bx2, something like that you can express. Okay, so it is not a single independent variable. You have a collection of independent variables which will determine which will help you to predict the value of a different variable. You have a collection of independent variables which will help you to determine the value of the dependent variable, right? Okay, so now you have understood this statement, like the machine will be able to build a mathematical model that represents the dependent variable as a function of the independent variables. So there are two kinds of predictive modeling. One is classification, another one is regression. The meaning of classification problem is it is used, okay, the classification modeling is used whenever the target variable takes discrete values. Whenever the target variable takes discrete values, which means, say for example, according to our example that we have discussed, here what could be the possible value for the diabetic attribute? Yes or no, right? Either it could be yes or no. The person would be a diabetic person or not. Okay, so it is a binary classification problem. It is a classification problem. It is a yes or no problem. Okay, so here the target variable, otherwise the dependent variable. The dependent variable otherwise called as target variable. Okay, so this target variable takes discrete values. So whenever the target variable takes discrete values, then you will apply classification techniques to predict the value of the target variable. On the other hand, supposing you have the problem of predicting the value of resale value of a old car, second-hand car. If you want to predict the resale value of a second-hand car, where the independent attribute is age, the age of the car. The independent attribute is age of the car, and then based on you could have other independent attributes too, like the model, name, the brand name, all those attributes you can have. Now I'm going to consider only the age of the car, okay, as the independent attribute, and then the dependent attribute is the resale value. What could be the resale value of the car? Okay, so here again it is a linear kind of relationship between these two variables. If the age of the car is more, if it is a very old car, the resale value is going to be less, is it not? So it is negatively correlated, right? Again, I can express this as in terms of a linear model, linear equation. Okay, so here what I'm trying to explain here is what type of value you will get here. You will get some value like 60,000 rupees or whatever it is. Okay, some integer value or floating point value. Okay, so here when the target variable takes continuous values, then you will apply regression techniques to predict the value of target variable. Okay, when the target variable takes discrete values, then you will apply the classification techniques. When the target variable takes continuous values like temperature, price of a car, or the salary of an employee, okay, all these variables will take continuous values, is it not? You would have studied about the continuous variables and discrete variables, right? So continuous variables, continuous values, price, salary, or temperature, all these are continuous values. Okay, so if the target variable takes continuous values, then you will apply regression techniques. If the target variable takes discrete values, then you will apply classification techniques. So these two categories of methodologies are available under supervised learning techniques, where we use supervised learning techniques only for predictive modeling, where you have a collection of attributes in a data set, where you have n number of one or more independent attributes and one dependent attribute, and you have one dependent attribute, and you will use the values of the independent attributes to predict the value of the dependent attribute. Okay, and then moving on to the unsupervised learning, otherwise called as a descriptive task. The objective is to identify the patterns that exist in the given data. Okay, the patterns include what is the correlation between the given data set, given data. Okay, is there any clusters available in the data set? Is there any anomaly that exists among the data? Okay, the cluster, for example, the customer segmentation problem. So if you want to classify the customers based on their purchase behavior, there are millions of customers visiting a supermarket, a mall. So you want to classify them based on their purchase behavior. Okay, so you want to group them. That is the concept of clustering. You want to group them based on their purchase behavior. So there you don't have an explicit target variable. Here your objective is to group them according to certain attributes. Okay, so this is the concept of unsupervised learning. where your objective is to identify the correlations, what relationship that exists among the data, whether you could find any clusters in the given data set, whether there are any anomalies in the sense whether irrelevant data. So is there any data that is present in the given data set which stands out from other data in the data set? Okay, so is there any anomalies in the given data? All those things you can identify. So if that is the objective, then you will go for using some unsupervised learning techniques. Okay, so applications of descriptive tasks include cluster analysis, association analysis. So I gave the example for cluster analysis, which is a customer segmentation problem. Association analysis is like you want to identify, the best example is market basket analysis. Like you want to identify based on the customer's buying pattern, like if a person buys milk, he also buys bread. Okay, if you are able to make some kind of association analysis based on the purchase pattern, you can able to promote your sale. Like say for example, always the customers buy, when a customer is buying a laptop, many of the when customers are buying a laptop, many of the customers also buy a printer along with it. If you are identifying this particular association between the purchase pattern, then you can go for upselling as well as cross-selling strategies. You can apply upselling and cross-selling strategies to promote your products. Okay, as a business marketing manager, you can apply all those strategies. Similarly, anomaly detection is also an application of unsupervised learning. Anomaly detection actually means a particular specific customer spends maximum 5,000 rupees a day, but unusually on a specific day he is making what I'm talking about is a bank customer is making use of his credit card. Per day maximum he spends only 5,000 rupees a day. Okay, unusually if he is spending 50,000 rupees in a specific day, then it is a abnormal behavior. So when the bank personnel detects such kind of abnormal behavior of a specific customer, immediately he can contact the customer to identify whether it's a genuine transaction or not, and immediately he can block the credit card of the customer in order to protect the customer from being a victim for credit card fraud, right? So these are all applications of unsupervised learning. And the meaning of semi-supervised learning is it is a combination of both supervised and unsupervised machine learning methods. In semi-supervised learning, an algorithm learns from a data set that includes both labeled and unlabeled data. In case of supervised learning technique, the data set that we are using, we call them as labeled data, okay, where you have a collection of independent variables and you have a target variable or dependent variable. Okay, this we call it as labeled data. And the data set that we are using where we apply unsupervised learning techniques are the unlabeled data. The data set will not be labeled. Okay, it will not have a specific name for each columns. Like there will not be an explicit. What you have to understand is there will not be an explicit target variable. Okay, so those kind of data we call them as unlabeled data. Okay, so in case of semi-supervised learning technique, we have both labeled data as well as unlabeled data. What is the meaning of reinforcement learning? In reinforcement learning algorithm, otherwise called as an agent, software agent, it learns by interacting with its environment. Okay, it will communicate with the environment and it will try to adjust its behavior based upon its understanding, based upon the interaction that it has made with the environment. It will try to correct itself. Okay, the agent receives rewards by performing correctly and penalties for performing incorrectly. Okay, it will try to modify its behavior. Whenever it makes correct decision, it will reward itself. Whenever it makes a wrong decision, it will penalize itself. Okay, so based upon that, it will try to correct its behavior. Okay, so it is a software agent. The agent learns without intervention from a human being by maximizing its reward and minimizing its penalty. So you don't need to have an explicit human intervention for the agent to work. It will make decisions autonomously. Okay, automatically. The agents will be capable of making autonomous decisions without human intervention. Right? That come under the category